Yes, sir. And we are back bana. What do you know about healing? Hapo ndo tulikuwa tumeachia. That conversation itself, man. How deep do you want to go with it? Na Dizo alikuwa amefika mahali fulani. Yeye amefika mpaka kwa kuua watoto. As
ni si kuua.
As healing.
Acha tu wakufe.
Sisi niko kufa, as in si wamekufa.
Acha si amewaua.
Complicity is still murder.
Rafi.
Oh man, it's a bit dark inside this building.
Very. The rabbit hole is getting warm.
It is warm, eh? When I feel fiti.
Na ni June.
Bra. And you know, now this is where we are at a point whereby wewe na ndio hii kitu yenye Dizo anauliza. And we having a conversation with you, tutaendelea tu. As a parent, how do you know you have healed? Ama you are aware now of what you're doing? Is it when wewe ni father kweli unajaribu kusema unaelewa what a father is kwa watoto?
So hii tunaachia the men watuambie if they feel
you are also a man, relax.
The rabbit hole is getting warm.
It's dark. As in, who is a man? Si Dizo aliulizwa na kazini yake pale. Ama Dizo nimekosea?
Uko tu sawa bro. Wanaume hapo ndio mimi nasikia tu wanaume.
Umesahau kuniita baby girl.
Bra.
Emotional.
Sasa we are here now. As in, mumekaa chini mkasalimiana kama Uhuru Ruto bra. Mkasema yes. DP president
Katambe
cheza kawe. Anza kulia unfair against you, as in hii kiti nataka ikuwe yako nikitoka hapa bra.
Sema na kufinya.
Exactly.
Anza mapema.
How do you know you are at that point of self awareness? I think hapo ndio Dizo alikuwa anatupeleka. The context was role modeling, discipline, guidance. Naweza ongeza yako Dizo.
Mushinda nikisema for you to be self aware you have to define yourself. That is the beginning of all self awareness. If you can't define yourself, then hiyo hujaanza. Maybe now you're dealing with things nusu nusu. So which ni swali hata nakumbuka niliuliza the other time mpaka ulirudia kaniuliza who am I? Wewe ni nani? Who are you? Who are you beyond
the roles?
Profession.
Beyond the roles. Beyond the titles, who are you? If you can't define that, then you're defining yourself based on attachments. And if you're defining yourself based on attachments, then hapo hakuna awareness yenye you are approaching on. You know, so it has to start from, first of all, define who you are. Then beyond defining who you are is when now from getting a definition of who you are, now you can create the core values. You can come up with your core values.
Now how do you
because
go
all along we've just been living based on a template that we were given.
How do you go about like defining who you are? Because that's now we have understood that's what is needed, but how do you go about that? How do you define yourself? How do you discover yourself in that aspect? Ama mtu anafanya nini ndio aweze kujidiscover yeye ni nani? Like how do you go about that, such a process?
So you go through it by shadow working. Shadow working ni ile yani shadow work, yeah. You basically in a layman's point of view ni you tap into your darkness and accept it.
I hope tutatupeleka kwa hiyo darkness yako ya walimu na
kumbuke pia Shakahola ni darkness, kwa hivyo we have to define how darkness is.
No, darkness ni yoyote hiyo, like as in if you're a killer, accept you're a killer. Because till Wait, wacheni ni land.
Oh, na encourage to serial killer to jidiscover
Let me land.
to Jeff
Let me land,
Dahmer.
bro.
Jamaa seme wow.
wacha land.
Land.
Unajua hata abortion ni killing. Continue Dizo.
We Dizo.
Bro, if you're a killer, accept you're a killer.
Dexter style.
If you're a basically the darkest thing you've been avoiding, accept it. Whatever you are, accept it first. Because after acceptance is like acknowledging. After acknowledging is when now you can ask yourself, is it relevant going forward or not?
And what if I find
it relevant
it's
going
relevant
forward?
like I
Then
find
go
like
forward. Then go forward. Stop pretending to be something you're not. Kumbe uko hapo you are a wolf in a sheep's skin.
But
Unakaa
ujaona
una pretend wewe
sometimes
ni mwanamume.
sometimes
Ngoja Rafi. Wait. And I don't want you to react. I want you to understand the statement before you contribute.
react. Okay, twende.
Yeah. So when you say, let's say you come and find out you're a killer, and then you find it is working for you, bro, accept it so that we can see it mapema and deal with it. Rather than you pretending, you come and pretend you're a good person. Like let's take, for example, let's take the cliche. You are an immature boy. Yeah. Most of us haven't accepted we are immature because we haven't been taught what maturity is. We have been taught is to become slaves. Beyond that, we haven't been taught who we are, how to utilize our potential, how to maximize on our masculinity. Like we haven't been, a lot of people hadi wanafika 40, wanafika 50, they don't even know their purpose. A lot of people wakiona watu wakiamua kupursue what they're interested in, wako like, that is just, unajua, yani, they play it down. So if you accept, first of all, you are emotionally immature, you acknowledge that. Rafi, will you marry?
No.
If you're emotionally immature.
So and you accept it.
But okay, you're
inaweza kuwa una mari kwa sababu umechoka kuwa lonely bro. Ama una mari cause it's love bro.
Wewe ndio wewe au watu wenye you go and repeat a pattern, then create a bad name for the marriage. You know, because you don't want to deal with your darkness. No, hata mimi yenye nimepeana ni example. Either way zote tu ni example. However you reply it already shows the path you take. Because consequences come based on the choices you make.
True.
But also guys, will you like you know, mi naelewa mahali mna come from like hii kitu
haujaelewa Rafi.
Okay,
wewe acha nikuulize wewe Rafi ni nani? Wenye tu nimekuuliza hivyo because wewe unataka kureact instead of trying to have a conversation progressively. Because kureact tutafanya hapa back and forth yenye maybe we are having the same conversation.
Maybe hata tunasema the same thing ni kweli.
So it doesn't make sense kukuja kusema unapeana side yako kama hujaelewa side yenye mimi nakwambia.
Okay, go
you have to understand what I've told you so that we can have a progressive conversation.
Ni kweli.
So we repeat. If you are emotionally immature and you accept that you're emotionally immature, instead, if emotional immaturity is working for you, useme, oh, you know me, or all I want right now is to hurt. And I don't want to hurt alone. I want to hurt with other people. Then you'll go on being an asshole. You'll go on entering marriages, and you'll go on being in toxic patterns. So it is okay for you to go on like that, so that we can point you out. Instead of you entering pretending that you are a nice person and complaining that that woman is the bad person. Or instead of you as a woman pretending you are a nice person, or you're emotionally mature, and then once umeingia ikugonge, you start complaining and blaming the man that man is the one who made me reach here. Where are we taking accountability of the choices we make? You know? So it's that accepting who you are first, so that once you realize who you are, there are a lot of people who once they've accepted who they are, they come and realize, hey, you know what? I'm not meant for marriage. Like there are a lot of women wenye tutakuja hata tuwaambie, oh, you know, as a woman the greatest gift you can get is giving birth. Bro, kwani we are in stone age? We are not in stone age saizi to say the greatest thing a woman can nini is giving birth. We are not in survival mode.
Of course there we
Ukuja
agree
ukisema
with you because you like
I haven't finished.
mentality
Wacha
kama
malize,
hizo
wacha malize.
eh?
kidogo tu
I
Lakini
haven't
pia
finished.
kidogo,
pia
wacha land.
okay.
So once umejua who you are, then now the choices you make from there itakuwa open for everyone. Like you're being honest with yourself, meaning the more you're honest with yourself, you are making choices that are based on honesty. They're not based on fear of either being alone, fear of being lonely. That one is we are trying to support or we are trying to make sense of a pattern or a toxic pattern that is consistent already. Yet, see that it can't change. The solutions we come with right now doesn't mean are solutions for us. These are solutions for the next or the coming generation. But before the coming generation comes and find the solution, we have to normalize the solutions. Juu ukiangalia hata how have we reached where we are right now to a point, how have we reached where we are right now to a point yenye we accept gayism. It was because that information was introduced and made normal. You know, at some point, maybe people were like, this will never be accepted. Oh, this is not allowed. But it is through Nini, it is through introduction and having that conversation that now that information right now, for us, we are comprehending it better. Me, I'll comprehend the gay information better than my parents because in their time, it was introduced in their time. So it wasn't made clear in their time. As we found an information that was introduced and normalized in our time. How was it normalized? In pornography, lifestyles, na kila kitu. It's the same thing with changing a mindset. Changing a mindset doesn't mean right now when we start having an ideal conversation, now that is far-fetching. It is introducing a thought that is uncomfortable so that there's a generation that will find that thought comfortable for as long as it is productive and progressive.
Can I introduce an uncomfortable thought?
Mm-hmm.
Ya nini tena?
Into the
I feel like you guys want to go now into your butt plug thingy.
As in it's a thought. Is it uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Acha tuende tu basi. You know, Dizo, we keep on talking about this so many times. Gender wars and the gender roles. If uncomfortable truths ni swali kama what do we know about gender and the roles, right? Because we find ourselves doing the same thing. Kweli?
That's true.
So even
like right now, ask a man, what does it mean to be a man?
Very good.
A man will give you the definition based on our parents.
Na hapo ndio nakupeleka Dizo. Na take it away from there. Juu hii ni kama ile ndege ya India. It's going down fast. The topic today. Oh shit, I was supposed to be sensitive. Poleni, wenye wameadhirika. Except ule jamaa mmoja alisurvive. Uko sawa tu. So, shit. Okay. So, we are going into the topic of the day. Fatherhood and when to step in. Na kuna single mothers. What are we saying? Are they fathers?
Yeah.
Are they not coming from a place of that stepping up? So would it be coming from a place of they are emotionally mature? They understand what they...
No. That's coming. The basis of single motherhood is wounded masculinity.
Okay.
That's the basis of single motherhood. So if the foundation is wounded masculinity, the masculinity that you are going to take, the masculinity that you are going to approach is a survival coping mechanism. So you are acting like a man, but not out of not out of a healed place.
Voluntarily.
It's out of survival.
You're not doing it voluntarily.
Yeah, you're doing it because it's survival. You have to survive. You know. So hiyo ndo kitu sasa tukakuja tuseme saizi. Single motherhood hatuwezi blame wanawake na hatuwezi blame wanaume. Single motherhood, we blame the dynamic. When we go to marriage, again, we can't blame the man or we can't blame the woman. We blame the dynamic. Why do I say we should blame the dynamic? Because when we blame the dynamic, then it will mean we have to change the dynamic that can accommodate the change that we have right now. So if we are blaming the dynamic of single motherhood, it doesn't mean there has never been single motherhood. Kumewahi kuwa na single motherhood, even in the olden days. But there was a dynamic whereby children were being brought up by the community. For the Luos, there was a dynamic. If it's a single mother, then a man might inherit her, or a brother or someone in the family will take the role of the male. So right now, there's a lot of single motherhood because the dynamic doesn't support when a woman is alone, or when even, let's say, a man is alone with a child. The dynamic is about who fucked up. The dynamic has been created in a way it shouldn't find a solution. It has been created in a way it becomes a rabbit hole by pointing fingers. So the more we are pointing fingers, the more we are not seeking a solution.
So Diesel, if I may ask,
But
does now co-parenting become the dynamic of trying to solve that single motherhood?
There's that one. There's co-parenting. There's the fathers who step up, kina Baiko. You know, like as
I stepped
right
down.
now.
Usiniharibie jina.
No, you stepped up.
Wewe ndo umejaribia hapo.
Hapana, nimesema I stepped down sasa, ni as in tuko hapo sasa.
After
No, I'm talking about the dynamic.
Yeah.
Dynamics za single
parenthood.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
in the
some
sense
people
of,
step up. It could be a woman, could be a man. It could be the co-parenting.
Ndio nasema mimi nime step down personally. Sijaongelelea watu wengi. Personally.
Ndio maana nakwambia, unaona hiyo chenye unafanya Baiko. Hiyo chenye unafanya una demonize dynamic kwa sababu you are feeling bad.
Hapana, mimi nawaambia hivyo kwa sababu ni kama kuna wasichana hapa mtaanza kuniharibia jina.
Hapana, but last week you
sana
unakuharibia jina by saying you stepped up.
No, you see what Baiko did is he stepped
I'm not
up,
understanding.
he stepped down, but I may take a different dynamic because now I believe you're in the part of co-parenting.
Dizo kwenye unipati
he's the one who's the man of dynamics at this point.
It is a joke, man.
It was
hiyo joke ndio najaribu kukwambia. Unaona hiyo joke mali umeileta. Like as much as tukubali tusikubali, jokes zetu ziko geared to demonizing something we don't want to acknowledge or don't want to accept. Sasa hizi hata nikuja nikijoke na wewe nikwambie, by the way unajua nini? Bibi yako kugongewa ni constant. I mean, you don't want to accept the dynamic that is not supposed to be constant, but you want to feel comfortable with something that you don't want to work on.
Correct.
You know, so that's why it's not that I didn't get the joke. As in, I'm trying to learn.
You're trying to be scientific.
Focused, bro.
So, by the way, guys, you need to get something. This right now is defining himself.
Nataka nimalize ndo niingie darkness.
As a teacher.
Hapa ni kwa
Mwalimu.
Sasa mwalimu, doctor.
Koroga chemist.
So anyway, if to finish, as I said, the blame should be on the dynamic. So once we blame the dynamic, then now we can sit down and say, if this dynamic is not working, which are the dynamics that are working? Ndio hizo zenye, kama venye Karembo amesema co-parenting, ndio nikasema stepping up. Hiyo ndio, like, right now, sasa tuieke ile design ya, if you are mature enough and capable enough to take a commitment, then take that commitment regardless of anything. We had a conversation here saying, if you have connected with a woman and you haven't connected with a child, make that clear. Don't go there and pretend that you're manning up, but yet that child is going to piss you off.
Yeah.
Yet that child is going to become an issue with time. Unaona, mtakuja
Mm.
mwanze kuagiwagi ikue we kwanza tu mtoto si wangu, kwani hukujua ukiingia huko. Unaona, so ikikuwa kama mnaambiana from the word go, hey, you know what, me and you have connected and I know you're a single parent. Is the father of the child there?
Mhm.
Yes, the father of the child is there. What's up? Hii ndio kitu iko, shughuli iko, nini ako present. Kama ako present, that's all. You know, because as I said pia when we began, that right now the biggest value that is that has come the biggest value that we are going with right now is not productivity, is not how hard you can work, it is how valuable your presence is. You know, now if you are present in your whether you're a woman or your child, or your woman and the stepchild, that value is what now determines the dynamic going forward.
Mm.
Because for as long as you are valuable, if kila mtu amue kufuata hiyo mtindo ya ati by the way we are going by value of presence, then now even connecting with each other becomes easier. Unaona, juu iko like by the time I'm meeting you, I'm meeting someone who's accepted who they are. Ukikuja uniambia by the way, you know what, me I don't want a child, na we ni dem pengine, na mi nikuambia mi nataka mtoi, that is already communication. We don't need to compromise shit, you know.
Mhm.
We don't need to anza kusema ati sasa tufanye aje,
Ishi
mimi
hapo.
nataka mtoto na wewe.
imeisha hivyo.
Tuiachie hapo ikue. Tusijaribu ku compromise vitu that are going to create a ripple in front here.
Unajua
So
nani?
when we are having that honest conversation, because everyone is honest with themselves. So if you say, hey, you know what, me just want dick, you know, and I don't just get dick once. I can get dick from anywhere. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. There are people who are okay with that. So you
And-
can't come and say, hey, that is wrong. No, it is wrong for you. So you, instead of pointing a finger to other people how they are, create your own value system, create your own boundary that you say, by the way, this is how I am. Then now going forward, any information that comes to you that doesn't fit your boundary, you shut it off. You're like, that is not my information to consume because it doesn't align with the life me I'm living or the vision me I have.
And this, you know, this one scares me kidogo juu I'm starting to realize that for you to get to a point where by now you are redefining shit, there something must end. And the way you're speaking ndio najaribu correlate with what I am seeing, and it is now making a lot of sense that Gen Zs are showing that us that we are that end, kwa sababu wao communication yao inakuwa pure, wako hapo, sitaki mtu hii wewe unataka bra, ni hivyo man. Even in the most simplest of ideas, jamaa anaweza kuwa amekuja na Crocs za pink, wewe mse hataki, wewe ushachoma bana, umebant. It's are we at that point, Dizo?
Yes, and that's what we don't want to accept. These kids are telling us, even in the music, that Triomio started singing about weed, started singing about pussy when he was in high school. But what did he do? We sat back and say, oh, you children are vulgar. Instead of listening and be like, okay, so you people have started this time, okay? So telling someone like Triomio to go look for a woman and marry because that woman is going to, is going to be a wife to him. And Triomio akae chini aanze kufikiria huu mwanamke mwenye tulikuwa tunafinga, we used to finga this woman in the bus.
Na ndio bibi.
Huyu ndo mwenye unaniambia ni bibi. Haiwezi.
And
No,
Dizo,
for
okay.
them, for them, they have no problem with having older people. Right now, if you haven't noticed, we are seeing a lot of, and it has nothing to do with a particular gender.
True.
We are seeing a lot of older men going for younger women, younger girls, and we are seeing a lot of older women going for younger boys.
Kuna
And
video
they are coming
nitakutumia.
open with it.
Ni epidemic.
Ile video
Both parties have
ulituma
agreed. Gani hiyo?
Imagine,
Inakam tu.
usijali.
Inakam.
But Dizo, imagine when we started this show na nikasoma this beautiful heartfelt message to all fathers for Father's Day tomorrow. what ulisema you cannot relate to this message, and it's imagine sinus kia umeguza, let me say the main nerve of my message, where you talk about presence in this whole thing of dynamics that have to change the system, where we say fatherhood is not defined by perfection but by presence. And I'm thinking, Dizo, saa zingine unapenda kuni reject.
No, mi nilikwambia hiyo kitu umenisomea. Hiyo kitu umenisomea ni bare minimum. You don't need to put sweet words on it and tell me your father has to do this. As in, that's a bare. If you find some sweet words of you being a father,
Unaingishwa.
But
impress
if you look at how the message was about, it was more about not what you need to do, but trying to acknowledge different things that fathers have done to different people. Because all of us right now, we have a father. For the ones who even are not yet parents, you are a child to some guy who's your dad. How you related with them, you connect something, call him a dad. Was he there? What
So
did
me,
he
that's
do?
what I have
Was
a
he
problem
cancel?
That's what I have a problem
What's
with.
a
Why should we
pain?
have a holiday? Why should we have a holiday
It's not a
for bare
holiday
minimum?
per se. It's not a holiday.
No, no, no.
It is.
Karembo. Kwenye
It's
upati
recognition. of-
lakini sasa tusikule pilau kwa nini
As in,
si pia si
una-
tunaweza tu kula pilau ya
no,
kujichachisha.
I actually feel like
Hata
Diesel-
Wahindi wako na diwali.
No, I feel like Dizo is coming from a place of that ego he was talking of.
I know.
Hataki
Diesel.
It is not
hataki
ego.
kuembrace.
It is not ego. Let me take you somewhere.
Ngoja kidogo Baiko before you get there. Think about this. Fine. He says there's no need for us to recognize. But for the longest walikuwa nasema, so much has been put emphasis on women. Now, things are changing. We are the same guys who are saying in dynamics zinaenda zikichange. So what's the dynamic? So we are
The
in a
new
place
dynamic.
where now it's not even about emotions, but we are logic and saying this. Ndio easy dynamics they run. We need the father to come, be healed, so that he can also guide that mother to this new dynamic. Because there's no way umtasema ati that dynamic, it's the mother who comes sets it up. Especially kama you're single. It's the father who's there that step in. Even that mother who's stepping in, it's a man
no.
who had to
Kwenye
step.
ampati Dizo, and this was the whole point, is the roles. Unaona? For example, let me take you somewhere where you're saying about that sweet message. Would you say in marketing, you're a salesperson, right? Would you say in marketing, the things that are bought most are the ones that are properly marketed?
Of course.
Na zimewekewa mpaka budget ya sales na
Yes.
nini.
Yes.
So, would you say sugar have you ever seen sugar being marketed?
Not, no.
Ama sugary products?
No.
No, even chocolates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chocolate,
Mara
yes.
nyingi.
Mi nilikuwa naona mpaka advert za Mumia, sijui
But hizo,
solid sugar. It makes life sweet, si ndio?
Exactly.
Vitu za pastry nini ni very sweet. But what does sugar do to you? Any daktari?
Excess of it definitely. You'll get metabolic metabolic issues.
Yeah.
Let me
So,
call it that way. Yeah.
watu wako na diabetes from birth.
No, but that's a different one. We call it that. That's a different one. Yeah, altogether. It means you have you cannot break down the insulin. So kumaanisha your islets maybe hazikugrow. That's the one. That's the one. we call
Tunaweza enda mpaka kwa basics lakini
No, ni basics.
najaribu na
Nasema
kupeleka
hiyo ya
mahali.
kuzaliwa si the same
Sawa,
na
sawa.
ile inatriggerwa na
Obesity.
obesity na lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
From-
I said it's a metabolic
Sugars.
issue. Not just lifestyle.
Simplify.
It's not any lifestyle.
Sawa.
Obesity, hypertension, diabetes.
Sawa.
It's a lifestyle thing. Yeah.
Umeshaiona chumvi ikimaketiwa?
No.
Can you eat food without salt? Even those sweet things kama pastries.
No. You need salt.
Why? Isn't it because it is necessary?
No, salt is very necessary. Yes.
Why are you saying no? And then you're saying yes, it is
No,
very necessary.
you asked, can we stay without salt? Nikasema no.
Yes, it is very necessary.
It's very necessary. Yes.
Now, that is where Dizo is taking you. As in, unaona message kaa hizi. Si lazima, as in, we are doing this. Tunaelewa kenye tunafanya. Mimi nikitaka kumix na kitu I'm salt. I know I'm salt. I cannot pair with the sugar. Ndaenda kwenye kanyama kako. Hapo ndio maisha ndio tunaweza fanya kitu nayo. As in, you have also discovered.
Now, unfortunately, with the way current trends
hiyo
inaenda,
ndo chenye
unakuta it smells
Karembo,
month.
hiyo ndo part bado uelewi. You see,
No,
hizi
but
holidays zote tuko nazo, they are just pushing an agenda for you to
exactly.
come and celebrate at Father's Day. It is because we are trying to say, oh, there are other men who didn't become fathers. So now let's celebrate the ones who became fathers, so that unapatia, as I started, you put pressure on someone who they don't even know how to be a parent or anything, but to them they're like, oh, for as long as I can do this as the society is expecting me of, so long as I can do this.
Na
So
kama
for them their
anaifanya
fathers
na
based
means
on
amehil,
no.
an
na
ego.
kama
Dizo
anaifanya na amehil,
Dizo did not listen to my message because my
unajua
message
kama
hiyo
anaifanya na
ngoja
amehil.
ngoja
I'm talking
this
about
ndio nasema
Karembo,
Dizo,
cancel
no,
the
we are
cancel the
together.
entire Father's Day, can't cancel the entire
Okay,
Men's Health Month.
Dizo, I think hata uli ni
Cause
misunderstand.
ungenielewa hiyo
No,
example
ninakwambia I
unanipatia.
understand that there's agendas that have been pushed. I get that point. But if he
And so
listened,
if
no,
it's bare minimum,
ngoja,
it is okay.
when I
If
actually
it is
read
bare
this,
minimum,
it
Karembo,
wasn't only
wait.
just about fathers who are their fathers. It even said there are men who don't even have had
No, no,
to have
no.
adopted.
You're
but
not
Which
getting.
is bare minimum.
You're not
That is
getting.
bare minimum.
As in that
What
message
he's
in
telling us.
itself,
Okay.
it doesn't need to talk to anybody.
Okay, fine.
Wanajielewa.
Okay.
Unapata?
Nilishasema I get that point. It's because these are genders.
Then the message
and that
doesn't
is why,
matter.
And that's why mnaona mlikuwa anasema, oh, you guys don't know it's Father's Day. But you can imagine this is the society where we are finding all kids by Friday walikuwa wameambiwa do something for your dad, acknowledge them. So already it's an agenda. So are you going to now jifanya you don't know
sikia Kenya umesema do something for your dad, wameambiwa hivyo na I mean huyu mtoto ushaanza kumwekea expectations zako za what you think that is.
Lakini
but ushiki hata simu za imetoka na shule. The current generations wanaambiwa.
Hizo kwani heshima tumechimba sana ama namna gani?
So now are you going no so now wait. Ngoja kidogo. So are you guys going to tell me come tomorrow your kids call you mutajifanya like it wasn't necessary, you're going to ignore that they actually want to acknowledge that? Think about now, put it in a way where
Karembo,
this is the system that has introduced it into the society. When this one asema, which I get it, it's an agenda. But now it has gone to a place where a child with that innocence akuja kwambia, Daddy, this is what we're told for Father's Day, that I need to give you a hug, I get you a chocolate, we draw you something, I come read out something, sing for you. Utakata?
I mean, si utasema tu okay. As in, si lazima, bro.
Either way, I think I addressed it. Nikisema, the conversations we are having here, Karembo, doesn't mean we are applying them. It is a different conversation that we are introducing so that the next generation that might pick that conversation, they'll normalize it. And you know what? This thing is not necessary. So for us, we already fact. There's nothing about it. Never ever think you're going to make any drastic change, because you have to understand changing a mindset takes generation. By the time you or us, we were changed our mindset to where we are right now, it didn't just start with our fathers.
And isn't this not a way of also changing the mindset?
Of course. Now, ngojeni.
So changing the mindset is the conversation. That's all. We are not saying that now tomorrow if my son, what I just told you, Karembo, what you've read doesn't make sense to me. That's all I told you.
That's
to me,
fine,
it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, to you.
This entire month, that doesn't make sense to me. Sijui holidays about sijui Mother's Day, sijui Father's Day, those holidays don't make sense to me.
But doesn't that border on worldview, like
so what are you also showing the kids?
Kile mtu mwenyewe anafikiria kwa sababu some of these holidays kuna watu wanapenda kuzicelebrate. Kuna watu wenye wataenda
discuss hii part ya why are they, mbona wanapenda kuzicelebrate. Nilianza na hiyo conversation hivyo nikisema vitu mimi kama mzazi wangu hiyo message itambamba sana. Our family WhatsApp group venye ametumiwa na amebambika, he said thank you. Pia mimi nimetumiwa, pia mimi nimesema thank you, si ati nimekataa. But is it out of ego or ni kitu bare minimum?
Lakini hiyo bare minimum kama inafanya mtu asikie raha, si
Is it
unampatia
out of
pia.
ego?
and that's
Is
why
it out of
nani,
ego
and that's why
Rafimas,
Phantom
or bare simujibu
alisema
tu hiyo swali.
Si labda pia
so
unamplaket
wewe pia
ego,
ukisema
yani sometimes tunafanya vitu tukubamba watu ama tunazimin.
Because for you saying okay, ama thank you,
So
you
how are we
also
having a progressive conversation if you people are defending the same system we are having a problem
but
with?
aren't you the same person?
Because now we are not having a
Umesema
progressive conversation. Sisi
it
tutakuja
is
tuseme hivi,
progressive.
nyinyi mkuje museme oh but there are some people, na hiyo kitu hamtaki kuita ego.
Okay,
lakini growth ni dynamic kakangu, yani growth haiko linear ati sasa tukifanya in a certain manner hivyo ndo itakuwa na results. Because acha nikwambie, sasa ni kitext budangu nimwambie mazee happy Father's Day Mbuyu, thank you for the lessons umenipatia, hata kama it's not ati kitu physical, ni kitu ambayo itambamba, maybe anaweza smile and that's important to him.
As in, unaona hii swali yenye Karembo aliniuliza,
unaweza ambia babako hiyo kitu any day.
Exactly.
Lakini
you know
pia
you can
hata
call your dad
nikimwambia
and tell
leo
your
pia
dad.
si mbaya.
No, wait, Rafimas. Rafimas, ngoja. Can you call your dad any day and tell him that?
Of course.
Then alafu, why are you making a special day? It makes sense.
Sasa, you see Diesel, I'm also using your own example.
So it has everything to do with ego. Hiyo ndo chenye Rafimas hutaki kukubali.
Ego or not, agendas or not.
Yani, sisi tuna go beyond the stimuli yenye imefanya ufanye hivyo, we are going to the results. Like huyo msemo mwenye umemwambia hivyo anasikia aje. Unaona hii siku ina meaning.
Hiyo ndio kitu sasa tumeshinda kusema,
wewe bado mko kwa stimuli.
It's not even a stimuli. These ametoka kusema that their system gets changing. Like the way Gen Z tumetoka kusema, we were the end of it. So now he even says it. This is an agenda being pushed. Him as Diesel, he has said he does not identify with Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. All these Hellman's Day are related now.
All these holidays.
Yes, let me land. So now amesema hivyo. Now imagine this. This is a system, this is agenda that is being pushed. Imeenda to a place where children are being made to understand there's Mother's Day, there's Father's Day. Now, they're being told that you have to acknowledge your parents. Wherever to you, you're okay because you know you're a father, you're a mother, you don't need it. But look at what is happening now across the world. There are people who have taken so serious about these days, it becomes a public holiday.
Karembo.
So what do you think will happen in the next generation that is coming? Watakuwa embrace
kidogo Karembo, unaona? Kidogo Rafi. Karembo. Just 1 minute Diesel.
It's a backward conversation you're taking us on. I've just told you.
Kidogo Diesel.
The conversations we are having here are not solutions.
I'm going to give you a simpler way of doing this.
We are just introducing uncomfortable topics zenye maybe sisi hatuzielewi.
Hapo ndio nakupeleka.
Tunazipeana na understanding yetu.
Hapana, acha nikwambie.
Hatujaipeana na any understanding.
Hatuna understanding.
Kuuliza kitu moja fiti. I'll just ask you, can you call your dad any day and thank your dad for how?
You can.
You see, Diesel.
Why are you trying to manage a problem?
Diesel is resisting the message because him is not
no.
kind of relationship.
Yani wewe,
I think Diesel kidogo guys, just 1 minute Diesel hata. Hii topic ya leo, so that I learned this kwa sababu this is now where you will realize that as Diesel is saying, we've been going round and it is a cycle, but a cycle needs to break. How are you breaking it? Introduce something difficult to have because you are seeing unasema results, right? Avoiding the stimulus. Kidogo tu. There is no guys here. Take that. Gender was kidogo tu. Let me go there. There are no roles. Now, nimefika mahali I am seeing the results of this are not good. Where we are right now, tunaona hizo results. Hii topic imeletwa mpaka shule. As in, what's going on? The topic of the day, because we talked about this, I think, third or fourth episode, performing. The topic of the day today should have been, are you raising a performer? Ndio tuendelee kutoka hapo. Because you are.
Tukisema hivyo, tukisema venye kina Karembo na Rafimas wanataka kuiweka. Tunataka kusema ati mnajua nini, as much as na hii ni the same thing yenye ulikuwa unafanya na watu hii, you are trying to manage a problem. ati you know what, as much as ndio hiyo chenye umesema ni ideal, but kuna watu wengine wanapenda. Hatujakataa, ndio nimekuuliza, can you acknowledge mbona unapenda kubambwa hivyo? Mbona unapenda kubambwa juu ya performance yenye ni bare minimum? Ni kama sasa nikuje nikwambie Rafimas, good boy you've eaten.
Good boy you've eaten.
Why would I be congratulating you, good boy you have eaten? Why would I? See, because you don't like eating.
And then
Maybe it's
Phantom was
positive
correct.
reinforcement, bro. Hata ukienda
then
kwa
It
life
doesn't
coach anakupa
matter.
positive
It doesn't matter the reinforcement,
Dizo,
Rafimas. The
Dizo.
focus here is ngoja Karembo. The focus here
Mm.
is introducing a whole entire different dynamic. So you people want us to discuss a dynamic that is there, meaning you people want us to manage. Since now this is what is going on, let's deal with this like this. Then, so what progressive conversation are we having here? Because me, I'm not getting why would I start saying unajua hizi mashule bado zinawafundisha. Okay, because the conversation we are having here hasn't been had anywhere.
And that
If
is why
let's say we keep on, wait. If we keep on having this conversation, then maybe years later, this conversation is what will be introduced in schools. Now, the mere fact that it hasn't worked for you, it has worked maybe for your grandchild. That is the idea. How can you change a pattern? You think changing a pattern changes with a generation? It changes with a couple of generations. That's why I gave an example. All these things that we are accepting right now, they have not been introduced right now. Pornography wasn't introduced right now. There was a time pornography was illegal in so many states. When we want to talk about single motherhood na nini, this wasn't introduced right now. We can take it.
Dizo umepotea. Are you there, Dizo?
You know.
You're breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So the idea of darkness chenye tu tumeshinda hapa tukisema. Introducing an uncomfortable topic. Let's focus on that uncomfortable topic. Not to manage what is already there. Kusema by this, since this is happening, we can't dispute this. Who has disputed it? When I come and tell you there's nothing wrong with marrying a whore, kuja uniambia hapana, there are some women who are not whores. Who has said there are some women who are not whores? Can we discuss that? You can actually marry a whore. As much as it's an unfamiliar territory, can we have a new conversation? That is my entire idea. I haven't refused kesho mtu akiambiwa happy Father's Day akatae. I haven't refused saizi venye hata umetuambia Karembo happy Father's Day tu kila mtu nini. Mimi hakuna chenye nimekataa hiyo kitu umefanya. Mimi tu nimesema mimi hiyo statement yako inaweza bamba budangu mbaya sana. But mimi it doesn't, because if I'm a father, that's bare minimum. Sacrificing for my child, that's bare minimum. Because growth without sacrifice hakuna. So things that are bare minimum, why are we celebrating them? If it's an agenda, why do we continue having that conversation about that agenda? We've already known it's an agenda. Why are we having a conversation on the agenda?
I thought it's coming
So
from
that's
a
the
place
point
of
I'm coming
logic.
from.
We are,
Again, I said, hata kama ni logic, let's take that logic. Hata kama ni logic.
Yeah, because
Logic
I feel
ni,
like now
this is embrace. Wait. Embrace your darkness in the rabbit hole. Let's be logical about it. Why are you bringing a normal conversation then?
is it
Let's
a
be
norm-
logical.
is it
This,
a normal
this is
is,
not
you're
a
telling me
normal
about it.
conversation,
It's
my
not.
friend, because now we have to
Bro,
get into
holidays are a
rabbit
normal
holes.
conversation. Holidays and people
It
being
is not
impressed
a
with
holiday.
holidays.
Now,
It is
this
an
one, check it.
acknowledgement.
I think this is just a difference in perspective, because there are some people who like to celebrate these things, and there are some people like maybe you who
Let's not
like,
even-
this is why are you celebrating me, something that I do without even being asked? Like I show up every time. Like there shouldn't be a day where you are celebrating such a thing. Na nakuelewa, but sometimes celebration don't have to make sense. Do you understand that? Like I can go and eat Eid with my Muslim friends, not because their religion, but because, man, it's Eid. Like
It's their culture.
some of these celebrations.
Rafimas, do you know what ego is? Do you know what ego is?
Tell me.
Hiyo kuambiwa kitu na ubambike kitu yenye ni bare minimum, that is out of ego.
Na
So mimi sijakukataza, ngoja sijakukataza kucelebrate holiday, but can you be honest with yourself and say by the way it is massaging my ego?
But you see,
Hiyo sasa ni internal thought. Yani,
and then these
yes,
are what
it's
you're
massaging
doing.
my
So
ego,
now
but-
you want him to get into whatever situation because wewe ushafika the other end. Aren't you the same person who was saying wacha huyo mtoto akosee ndio ajue? Ndio tunasema it makes a lot of sense when now Phantom was saying let's define this from a point of pride, ego and ignorance. Right now mnasema it's a normal thing, yet you guys didn't even know that tomorrow is Father's Day. If it was normal mungekuwa mnajua. So that's why nasema hivi to
That
you
is
it's
just me and Baiko.
no,
That is just me and Baiko Karembo.
na ndio nasema
So
hivi
sijakata mimi chenye nimekwambia hapa, you've said we be logical, yeah?
na ndio
Then let's
nasema
enter
according to
the
your
darkness.
logic
Because
na ndio
your
nasema
conversation
you see
is just diluting the darkness. So huwezi kuja
Sasa,
uniambie ati chenye mimi
okay.
nasema
Na
ni
ndio-
kuforce side yangu.
na ndio
I'm not forcing
nasema
my side. As in I'm trying to say here is there. Mimi have given a side, right? And I haven't said there's anything wrong.
but why
It's
then
celebrating
if
the
it's
holiday.
your
But
side
can we be
why then are you
honest
beating
enough?
na ndio nasema you need now what you're doing, you're bastardizing the whole thing, trying to make it sound like haina meaning, like the way Baiko was trying to make jokes about stepping down, stepping up and all that. Na ndio alikuwa nasema if my darkness is in a place where what you think to you it might be normal but you didn't know that it was a day, but now you want to call it a
Karembo, what's the
holiday.
agenda of the holiday?
It's,
Because clearly,
oh my God.
just tell me the agenda of the holiday.
It was
Then
just
maybe we can understand what darkness is. What is the agenda of the holiday?
it's just it's not even a holiday. It's just acknowledging fathers.
What's the agenda? Just name the agenda.
See, acknowledging fathers in whatever
For being
aspect.
fathers.
Yes, not and then there's
So,
something.
no. Just maintain there. Just maintain there. We are trying to be logical. We are trying to be logical.
Wait. Hold up.
Karembo, maintain there. Usitoke hapo.
Before we say it's
hapo.
about being fathers. Ndio
Usitoke hapo. Mimi
Ngoja.
nataka tukue logical. Juu umejaribu kujifanya hapa mlogical.
Si story na hivyo because
Let's go
wewe
hard on
pale
things.
Bro, kuna wase wenye
unaishika.
hawako fathers.
Exactly. Now in my message
We are just
nilikuwa-
having this conversation.
we are not talking from a point of kila mtu as in unaona
Kila mtu na-
But
Anga,
but
kidogo
sasa
tu, kidogo,
tutamshiki.
kidogo Karembo.
When I read it, I was also talking of men who have even stepped into roles. They're not fathers of anybody, but
You're
they
not-
they are dispensing the same kind of roles.
And this is the thing,
Guidance,
Karembo.
protection.
You are not arguing as in ulimuuliza how is Father's Day to you akakwambia mi by this sitambui
Yes, na venye hatambui sasa
But
shida ni because
ngoja,
mimi
ngoja,
nimetambua,
kidogo tu.
he's beating me down for
There's
that.
no
Hii
problem.
conversation si Karembo ujiongelele.
He's having a logical
Barafimas ujiongelele. Tuache kuongelea kuna watu wenye wanapenda. Semeni nyinyi, mimi my ego is massaged whenever I'm celebrated. It's as simple as that. Stop saying that there are people who like this.
Hiyo na
Let's
agree.
take this conversation
By the way,
to the ground.
nikimasajiwa hiyo ego in that type of way inanimek nasikia poa, na hiyo naweza agree.
Exactly. Sasa tuseme hivyo, tuache kusema kuna watu wengine, hakuna cha mtu mwingine hapa. Speak for you. Mimi I spoke for myself, Baiko spoke for himself.
Na
Sijakuja
sasa
hapa
it's the
nikasema
same
ati
thing.
watu
I also
wengine wako
spoke
hivyo.
in a place where I'm appreciating fathers. So why for you it might be a normal conversation, but to somebody
And I said
else,
it is okay
and if it's
appreciating fathers, Karembo.
exactly. So ndio
So if it's
nasema
okay,
don't say I'm
can
killing
you
it
do-
by having a normal conversation. Yet to you you
No,
didn't
no.
even know it was there that to acknowledge at the first place.
What do you mean I didn't know? Karembo, that is a total, any holiday that is worldwide is a normal thing.
But you
Unless
didn't
you
even
don't
know it was
understand what
tomorrow.
normal is. Do you know what normal is? Anything that is worldwide is normal. Any agenda that is pushed worldwide is normal.
But it was not normal to
So
you.
when I said that is ati,
But it's not normal to you.
to me,
Exactly.
so kwani mimi, how many people do I represent?
Now that's why nasema you are not
No,
supposed
wait, Karembo, kwani usiwache kusema that's why unasema, jibu tu vile mimi nakuuliza. How many people do I represent?
just yourself.
Exactly. Can you also just represent yourself?
That's what I was doing.
Venye tu Rafi Master amejirepresent hapo, venye amesema, mimi by then kimasajiwa ego hivyo, musikia fiti.
inanibamba
Then now we can have this conversation and say, this holiday is about ego.
Ni kweli.
Na tujakataa.
What do you mean hujakataa? Sasa unataka kuchange course.
But you
Umeingia
see,
logic.
Yani
but you
mahali
see-
tuna agree on a point ukimake hiyo lazima ni kubali bro.
But
Ukimake
ndio
point
tunasema
ambayo na agree,
where my ego
maybe
is
naweza kuwa
coming in this,
nimedisagree na mahali
na
kwingine.
ndio nasema for you it's not normal, but for me it's normal because now it's something that the system has decided to make it an agenda and make sure that it persists moving on even to the next generation, that they will have to recognize fathers. So ndio nilikaa hivi nikakuuliza hivi, we're in that same society that is doing this. So for me, if going and appreciating fathers that I know, na niwaambie, this message is for you, we celebrate you, it also comes from an ego where that they know that I acknowledge the things that they do. So mimi sijakata, that's my kind of ego satisfaction from acknowledging those fathers. So for you, Dizo, it may not be there. So let's come from a place where now we are like, you're the point of, you acknowledge this, you're doing this. Him is the person who does not relate to it because for him he feels, again, he's coming from an ego place of, I'm already a dad, I don't need the acknowledgement. You get my point?
But what is an ego?
Tumetoka kusema it's coming from a place of
No.
damage,
What is ego?
reputation.
What is ego?
Ego ni kiburi. Yes.
So
yes.
Unajua kuna
Mimi
kitu
nimesha kwambia yangu satisfaction inakuja from
kidogo
the
tu.
people,
No, this is now a general one. Hey, nasikia utamu hapa bwana. Ile kicheko yangu imepotea bwana. You know, na Dizo ametoka kusema hivi lakini pia nitamuingisha kwa hiyo shimo yenye yuko. Let's have a logical conversation.
You know Baiko.
Yeah.
Wait hata ni nini. Here's what I'm saying. You're watering the conversation. Me, I'm coming here na theme ya show. Tumeingia darkness mahali popote. So who gives a shit about a normal conversation?
100%.
You know, like as in, so if you are here to have a normal conversation, then ndio chenye nimesema, mimi sikukuja hapa kuwa mwalimu. I don't have all the answers. Me just came here to have a conversation that is uncomfortable, even for me.
Exactly.
I am a parent. Hakuna mahali itanikalia ati mimi niwaambie. Me saizi, if my son calls me tomorrow and tells me Happy Father's Day, in my head I'll be like, Daddy, I'd prefer if you can tell me that any day. In my head, but I'm not going to tell my son, hey, Daddy, you can tell me this any day. But all I can show my son is I can be appreciating my son every day, so that I can show him you don't have a particular day. You don't need a particular day to appreciate someone. It's all about that's on me. But I'm not saying you people do that. I've said, can we have a conversation that is not normal? Otherwise, there is no reason of having embrace your darkness in the rabbit hole if we are going to manage problems. Because every platform is managing problems. Every agenda is managing problems. Now, unless there's an agenda that I don't know, we are not embracing shit, bro.
Bado tuko hapa tu juu.
Tuko hapa tukukubaliana na watu, unajua hizi holiday pia zina make sense. Zina make sense kwa sababu gani? Why? Mbona zinakumakia sense? Tuambie mbona wewe zinakumakia sense. Ndio hiyo venye kina Rafi, hata wewe Karembo finally umekuja umesema it massages your ego. But if it must, na hiyo tukuje tukasema and when I began the show nikisema right now kama una deal na ego, you have to put your ego in the back seat so that you have a clear mind, because that's where emotional intelligence is. Discernment. How can you discern something with ego? Because with ego you will never accept any new information. You'll think your information has to be the way. We haven't discussed anything. Mimi haven't given a tip venye inafaa kuwa. I've just challenged the norm.
Unajua Dizo hapa ndio kwenye
rabbit hole. Hii show itaisha hapa tukiongelea tu vitu normal tu. Mimi nikijaribu kuko hapa tu nikiulizwa maswali nikijibu things that I do every day.
Dizo, acha nikuambie kitu moja. Unajua hapa kwenye tuko, and I think these are the best times, ndio kwenye tunaenda kufungua mlango ya rabbit hole sasa vizuri. It is becoming uncomfortable now. Unajua makosa Dizo, people assume darkness can be managed. Hauwezi manage darkness as in you are not seeing shit. Umeingia kwa hiyo, sasa tuko hapo kwa embrace, umeingia kwa giza yako. There's a video of what do we call this, rabbit holes I was watching, and it was some uncomfortable truth that, bro, one, you'll have fear, and that fear is not that fear that ile tu kidogo, bro, ile fear sasa reaction. What are we doing to manage this problem? Uoga, you're not managing it from a point nimeelewa nimeingia kwa rabbit hole. Uoga, tusteremke kutoka hapa, tuko hapa tu juu. But once you start going down, you start to actually understand what darkness is. Juu 1 hour sijaanguka, 2 hours sijaanguka, 3 hours sijaanguka, bra, 10 years sijaanguka. What is this darkness? Now you start finding ways of breaking this fall you're falling. Because you've been falling, as this was saying, to change minds. People assume, hata hii jani ya self-awareness, you assume that it's instant, bro. Labda hata siwe utakuwa self-aware. Mtoto wako ndio utaona amekuwa in a direction that you want, and then, bro, you are realizing, shit, man, I'm self-aware. Because I'm seeing this generation doing something right for the first time. Msijaona hivi. So, kuna kitu nilifanya vizuri, and you can be able to pinpoint it, replicate it. So, goes back to the question. Mtoto amekuja amekuambia, and this is I think what Dizo was trying to go towards his point of view. Happy Father's Day. And at that instant it hits you. Bro, ile cycle ni kama imerudi. Kwa sababu mbona ananiambia Happy Father's Day vitu zenye ninakuanga nikifanya kila siku? Kwa nini nimefanya yenye sikuwa nafanya yenye nilifanya siku moja ikambamba hivi? Una get? To a point that you start to wonder, hey bro, why did I have this child by the way? Have I deviated from that plan? Now that is intention. You're not doing shit from a point of attitude tumejipata tumefanya. Nimeelewa, nimefanya hivi. Now even if you take that and put it in your situation right now that ukona mtu anakuambia hivyo, you are realizing, kuna makitu imefanyika. You can become very intentional also with the way you move forward. Unapata? That this cycle does not repeat itself again. Because the moment you are noticing cycles, ni kwenye unaingia kwa giza. Unapata? Hii giza ulikuwa ushaielewa, but sasa kwa nini nimeingia kwa giza tena? It's becoming uncomfortable kusikia vitu kama hizi. Kwa nini? But not everybody wants to get to that point, because one, it is very unsettling, uncomfortable, it is fearful, uncertain. Na hakuna mtu anapenda kitu uncertain. The only person that loves chaos and uncertainty is somebody who has learned how to stop them. Unapata? Nilikuwa intentional na kila kitu yenye nafanya. Now I see this thing happening again. Shit, here we go again. Now I have to immerse myself. Bro, fully isifanyike tena. It is not a 1-day thing, it's not a 2-day thing. Ni kitu unaendelea ukifanya. Going back to kama hii example ya he and she. Most people, if hata mimi najua at some point, man, I used to think my sister was a lesbian. Na nikahurumia mpaka mzae wangu bana. Go shit. Kazi kwa hapa si ya kawaida. But I didn't realize that Kenya ya naona si Kenya mimi naona. Mimi ni mara yangu ya kwanza kufanyika. So I'm reacting to it. But this nigga did not do shit. Iliachana tunayo. Tukaenda rurashi wa sister yangu. As in, it is a stage. They are communicating something. Juu unaona, most of us take children as extensions of ourselves, but it's not an extension of us. Bro, that's something totally different. Mtu pia akona njia yake. Why are you trying to stifle Kenya anafanya? Kwani hauko unajua Kenya unampatia? You knew this guy at one point. Umempata juu ya hii na hii na hii. You've been working towards this and this. Why now are you putting doubt in yourself? Nugget? You are not doing things understanding that they need to be done. That is basic. now when you start to realize that something else is trying to be pushed and marketed to you, you're at a point whereby you're either in fear or you're okay.